welcome to the Des Moines City Council meeting. How are we doing? I was going to whack the thing. Okay. Hey, hands up, everybody. We're going to get started. We're on the air. Okay. Prior to us starting, we've got a very special recognition this evening, and I'm going to ask Penny Ferguson to come up, and she is going to tell us about the Gateway Dance Theater that has a very special celebration this year. Penny?
Thank you very much, Mayor County and the City of Des Moines. We will be celebrating 40 years in the city. We didn't think we would last 6 months. This was in 1972, and we brought diversity in the arts and continue to do that. And we do education is really our primary goal, both young and old, all ages. And we've had the mayor play with us drums too. So thank you very much. I'd like to bring Cynthia Hanafa, who also danced with us and still does, and lends her voice now to us, and is serving as our chair for this gala on April 6th at the Temple Theater. You'll see the marquee. Thank you.
Cynthia, do you have anything you want to add?
Just other than we've got a great group of people who is helping with the planning, and all I do is just kind of help run the meetings, but we've got a fabulous group of people helping to plan this wonderful, magnificent event. So we hope everybody comes and joins in that celebration of 40 years of dancing in this community.
At the Temple Theater.
Okay. Here, we're going to get up here close, and I'm going to read this. For all of our viewers, the certificate of recognition to Penny Ferguson, founder of the Gateway Dance Theater. The City of Des Moines would like to recognize you for providing the Des Moines community with 40 years of quality urban arts programming while promoting intercultural awareness and an appreciation of diversity. On behalf of the City Council and the citizens of Des Moines, Iowa, we extend our sincere congratulations on a job well done, and 40 more years, Penny. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's give her a hand. We're going to get a quick picture here. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're going to get started in just a minute. Thank you.
Christine didn't want to speak on time anymore.
Told me to take that one off.
Hey, Brian. I want to welcome everybody to the Des Moines City Council meeting for March 25th. Prior to the start of our meeting this evening, we have a special message from our own council member, Brian Meyer. And Brian, we'll all stand, and we'd ask you all to stand if you will.
Thank you, Mayor. And please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
I think as you can see on the screen, occasionally an inadvertent cell phone goes off. We would ask everybody check their phones at this time and make sure you have it in sort of the off or at least the silent position. It'll help us keep moving. I would ask the clerk to take roll, please.
County,
Here.
Coleman. Here. Moore, Grease, Mahaffey. Hensley. Here. Meyer.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Item 2, I'd like to have a motion to approve the agenda as presented and/or as amended.
Move.
It's been moved. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item passes. Item 3 is approving the consent agenda tonight. Those are the items 3 through 36. These are items that we handle as one vote and cast them without separate discussion unless somebody, either a council member up here or a member of our audience, pulls one of the items for either clarification or further discussion. This evening, of those items, item 5, Councilmember Moore wishes to speak. Item 23, Councilmember Hensley wishes to speak. Are there any other items? Again, items 3 through 36. Anyone would like to pull for further discussion?
Mayor, I'm a no vote on 4G.
No vote on 4G. Anything else? All right, can we have motion?
Move.
It's been moved. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item passes unanimously. It takes us to item 5, which is public improvements. Item 5 is authorizing the submittal of STP, Service Transportation Program, TAP, Transportation Alternatives Program, Fund, fiscal year 2017 applications to the Des Moines Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, MPO. Council Communication number 13-134. Mr. Moore.
Well, the MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization that oversees how to prioritize and fund using federal dollars. I realize this all looks like it's streetscape enhancements, but Mr. Manager, I don't see any viaducts on this.
Mr. Moore, council members, you are correct. This is our submittal to the MPO, that is the City of Des Moines submittal to the MPO for a chunk of the funding that the MPO receives via the state of Iowa with their federal dollars. But as you noted, these are for streetscape and pedestrian or bike trail projects. Projects like viaducts or major street improvements or Southeast Connector is an example of those are funded under a different funding category than we have on your agenda for this evening. So I understand your question, but that's why it doesn't appear on this particular list. With regard to viaducts, just as a reminder, in the past I've suggested to the council that we would take a look at federal funding opportunities or state funding, but most likely federal, perhaps in conjunction with the mayor and our efforts. And in that regard, we've already had a conversation with H&K, which is our federal firm that works with us on federal funding opportunities. We've asked them to begin that research to see if there are dollars that might be available for a viaduct construction. That's no guarantee that the dollars will be there, but it is a step that we can take towards trying to find dollars for that kind of a project.
Thank you. I'll move number 5.
Seven yes.
Takes us to item 23, which is setting date of hearing. Item 23 is on the issuance of a certificate of appropriateness for the demolition of Norden Hall 709 East Locust Street. Date of that hearing is 4/8/13. This was continued from 3/11/13. Mrs. Hensley.
I'm going to turn this over to Brian Meyer. He's got all the details.
Oh, thanks, Chris. The, this is significant from a historical preservation angle, and I know that Matt's been working with a lot of folks at the state and some developers to hopefully rescue this building that is a wonderful, wonderful piece of history. Matt, do you want to address what exactly we're doing here? It's my understanding we're sending a letter to Director Mike Carroll, the Department of Administrative Services, encouraging him to work with us on preserving this building.
Correct. Matt Anderson, Assistant City Manager. We've made some nice traction in the last couple weeks since the previous council meeting, working with both Department of Administrative Services, State Historic Preservation Office, city staff, and particularly one interested developer, and a couple others that have inquired. We think we have enough traction that we're going to get somewhere on this building. There's a piece of city-owned land that's been identified in the East Village that we think could work well for this redevelopment. It's a small building, but it's architecturally significant in Des Moines history, and we think we should make every attempt possible to save it. So what we're suggesting is that we advance that we receive and file that letter tonight and send it to it's addressed from the mayor to Mike Carroll, Director of Administrative Services, pledging the city's cooperation, staff cooperation in working with them on this, understanding that they do have a tight timeline that they're trying to adhere to. So we're going to move this as expeditiously as we can.
So does it mean then that they're going to put on hold the demolition contract that was signed to begin demolition on Wednesday, the 27th?
That's our hope.
So we don't have a commitment on that yet?
We don't have a commitment. What Director Carroll had said when we met with them earlier last week was that they do have a demolition contract, and in order for them to not go forward with that demolition contract, they needed a qualified developer pledged to move the building by a certain date. We met with that developer today. He's continuing to work with Director Carroll and his department, and we think that's only 2 days, but we think we can get that done. And I'd like to take that letter, deliver it to Mike Carroll tomorrow, tell him we're pledging to work with him, and hopefully get something done before that short little window closes.
Okay. Excellent.
Okay.
Great job.
Move to receive and file the letter and take appropriate actions to send it to Director Carroll.
7 yes.
For those of you who are watching either here in the audience tonight or at home, item 4V was withdrawn. The inspections were incomplete. Item 16 was withdrawn by Traffic and Transportation Department, and item 16I was withdrawn. I withdrew it. That completes the consent agenda and takes us to item 37. Item 37 is an ordinance first consideration. It's amending Chapter 114 of the Municipal Code to allow installation of pedestrian hawk high-intensity activated crosswalk signal on Grand Avenue east of 2nd Avenue, Council Communication number 13-133. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak on this ordinance amendment?
I'll move 37.
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to comment. I think this is a great idea. When Rick had emailed this out last week, I thought, man, we should do that in a lot of different places. So I would love, if this works out well, to consider doing something like this throughout the city in a number of crosswalk type of situations.
I agree, and we have one up on Grand, right by the Art Center, that is very popular.
Good, thank you.
7 yes.
Item 38, which is a council request, this one from Councilmember Bob Mahaffey to speak regarding naming of Birdland Park Shelter House in honor of J.N. Ding Darling. Bob.
Thank you, Mayor. I think this is a great opportunity for us to show our appreciation for what Ding Darling has accomplished. He's a nationally known individual who's done a lot as far as He's, as far as the city, he served on the Parks Board back in the 30s. His family and them have been very active in the river area where it's identified as the Ding Darling areas along. And with the renovation of this shelter, I think it shows our respect for what he has accomplished. And I'd like to propose this to be brought to the staff and city manager, and hopefully take it on to the Parks Board for naming rights of the shelter there along the Berlin Lagoon.
All right, anybody in the audience? Any discussion? Bob moves.
Yes, I do move 38.
7 yes.
Item 38 is a communication report, is a receipt of the 2012 Polk County Assessor's Report.
I'll move.
It's been moved.
A
Anybody
lot
in
of good
the
information
audience?
in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Seven yes.
All right, let's move to item 54, which is a plan update and adopting the plan as an element of the Des Moines 2020 Community Character Plan for the following. A is the Beaverdale Neighborhood, Council Communication number 13-148. One under that is the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission. B is the Woodland Heights Neighborhood, Council Communication number 13-149. One under that is the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Mr. Manager, are you going to have the Planning Department come up and quickly present these two items?
That would be terrific, Mr. Mayor. As Phil Delafield is coming forward, I'm going to steal just a little bit of his thunder and tell you that one of the very interesting things about this piece of work is that a lot of the work was accomplished in a consortium between our city planning staff under Phil's leadership and Iowa State grad students in the planning program there. So a lot of the work was actually accomplished by grad students. So a good thing for us, good work accomplished by students that really helped us a lot. And also, I think, a great educational opportunity for the Iowa State folks. So this is a really nice model. My congratulations to Phil, his staff, and the Iowa State folks as well. So it's all yours, Phil.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, Phil Delafield, Community Development Department. And yes, as Rick has alluded to, this has been a very interesting project, a great opportunity. The city developed a 2-year pilot program in 2011 to update charter plans. Those are the neighborhoods that have previously gone through the planning process. And we selected neighborhoods that had to be at least 10 years or older, plans that were at least 10 years or older to apply for the pilot plan. And so as Rick alluded to, we partnered with the Graduate Level Planning Studio, and I'd like those that are here to raise their hand. There were many more than the professor and the student that are here, and they were quite effective in their program. Beaverdale and Woodland Heights were selected for the fall of 2012, and Capitol East and Capitol Park will participate in 2013. The Beaver Neighborhood Organization and the Woodland Heights Neighborhood organizations took the steps to approve the plans at their February neighborhood meetings. And just to briefly summarize what are in the plans, the Beaverdale plan focuses on improving relations with the school district and using their two-year access to the Neighborhood Finance Corporation. And the Woodland Heights plan focuses on improving the perception of the area as well as recreational opportunities in the Chamberlain Park and access to the trail system. So all in all, quite a positive outcome, and we encourage your adoption of this plan. I'm here to answer any questions if you have any.
This is both the Beaverdale and the Woodland?
That's correct.
All right. Is there anybody in the audience to speak to either one of these plans? As Phil has pointed out, been a lot of work has gone into this, not only by our department and Iowa State University students, but also the neighborhoods have been active participants through the years in working on these. So we'd love to have any clarification or discussion by anybody, if you have any thoughts. Seeing none, could we have a motion?
Can I Can I
Please.
make one quick comment? And
Absolutely.
to support, and somebody else may want to move it, one of the ward council people from the two neighborhoods. I thought the plans were really good. It also made reference, especially in the Beaverdale plan, one of their first two goals was to strengthen the relationship with the neighborhood schools and the educational opportunities for the kids in the neighborhood, which I really appreciate, because sometimes these kind of city-sponsored neighborhood plans deal with only, the things that are under our control. And so I would recommend that we forward these plans to the school board and, encourage their review of it, and encourage the neighborhood associations to reach out the same way they have done to the city, to the school board. And I think that's a really positive development, and I hope it's a model for many of our neighborhoods. This is an update of a plan that I worked on when I was a citizen before I was elected a long time ago. And I just know that a lot of neighborhoods, we know more about the sewer system and the zoning of different corners than we even know the principal's name at the school in the neighborhood. And so I think this is a good model for the kinds of things we should be thinking about. And I appreciate them focusing in on that, because our schools are vital to the success of our neighborhoods.
And I would just add on the Woodland Heights project that I was at the meeting when they actually approved the plan, and having read through the project or the plan, there's a lot of great information in there, and I was particularly struck, as you highlighted, Phil, by them really wanting to deal with the perception issues of Woodland Heights, and they had a group of core volunteers that spent a lot of time working on that, and it's important that I believe, from a city's perspective, that we work with them to ensure that they're able to complete those plans to fruition.
Mr. Mayor, I would be happy to move the item in its entirety. I echo both of their sentiment. I really like this program because basically it takes a neighborhood plan and it dusts it off and it cleans it up and brings it up to date. We've all experienced a neighborhood plan that doesn't quite fit with the current issues going on, development happening in that neighborhood. So this is a good opportunity to get it up to date. And I love that we were able to partner with Iowa State to accomplish this at relatively little cost to the city, at least on the front end. And of course, the city's going to partner with these neighborhoods, to see their plans accomplished. But on the front end, saving a significant amount of staff time that we could devote to other things.
Absolutely. Item's been moved.
Seven yes.
All right. It is about 12 minutes till 5. We have hearings that are, because they have been posted officially to start at 5 o'clock, we have quite a number of, about a dozen hearing items, but we cannot start them before. And so we will be recessed for about 11 minutes, and we'll be back at 5 o'clock sharp and begin with our hearing. So we sit in recess. session. Our first item on hearings is on the 2012 HUD Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, the CAPER.
Water, please.
Anything on that, Mr. Manager, that you want to
Thank you.
note on the CAPER?
No, Mr. Mayor and council members, Chris Johansson is here and would be happy to add comments.
Anybody in the audience have any questions? Council? Hearing none, could we have a motion?
Move.
Seven yes.
Item 41 is on the city-initiated request to amend the zoning ordinance text in Chapter 134 with regard to paving requirements for parking and outdoor storage uses. A is the first consideration of the ordinance above. Mr. Manager, does this include some green aspects of this? You and I discussed this earlier in the day.
Actually, as a matter of fact, it does, and I think Phil Delafield would be able to help expand on it. Maybe it would be best if he talked about it. But yes, we did research it after you raised that inquiry, and I think Phil's got some on-point answers for you.
Mayor and Council, Phil Delafield, Community Development Department. The green infrastructure items that you're referring to have become sort of ingrained into our processes in community development, and green infrastructure is allowed as long as the surface meets the definition of dust-free surfaces. So as long as we are able to satisfy that standard and still have permeable pavement, then we would integrate it. This does not substantially change the definition. This action changes, is in reaction to a negative ruling we had on a court case regarding how we are approaching the car lots and what areas should be paved and what areas should not. But it certainly still allows green infrastructure.
So some accommodation for collection of water and getting it back into the soil is there, including islands and trees and...
Absolutely part of our game plan.
Okay. Any questions, anybody? Can we have a motion? Anybody in the audience? Questions? Amending the zoning ordinance regarding parking and outdoor storage lots.
Move.
Seven yes.
Item 42, from the city-initiated request to amend the zoning ordinance text in Chapter 134 with regard to the addition of a definition for small engine repair use. A is the first consideration of the ordinance above. Is there anybody in the audience to speak to this item? Zoning ordinance text amendment regarding a definition for a small engine repair. Seeing none, do we have a motion?
Mayor, I'm going to move this, but I would also like to refer it back to staff to have this further refined. And under definition, it says means of motor used to power home tools. It needs to have professional added to that. And under principal permitted uses, it indicates that they can only do the run-up and testing of engines within a shop building, and that's usually done outdoors for several different reasons. So I'd like to have it kicked back to staff. I talked to Phil about it earlier, and he said we can make some changes in this and still pass the first reading.
Okay, with that amendment, it's been moved.
Seven yes.
Item 43, on the vacation of a portion of the east-west segment of the alley between Rygert Street and East Holcomb Avenue, west of Oxford Street, and on the land exchange agreement with EIW LLC for comparable parcels in the vicinity of 129 East Holcomb Avenue. Council Communication number 13-146. A is the first amendment of the ordinance above, and B is the final consideration of the ordinance above. The waiver is requested by the applicant and requires 6 votes. Is there anybody in the audience to speak to this item? Seeing none, could we have a motion?
Seeing none, I'll move that EIW is Eagle Ironworks. You could probably relate more to where that's located than you can EIW, so I move the item 43.
Seven yes.
Item 44, on the conveyance of property at 1018 Euclid Avenue, purchase for the Euclid Avenue Intersection Improvements Project to the state of Iowa for the benefit and use of the Iowa Department of Transportation, IDOT. Anybody in the audience to speak to this item? Seeing none,
I will move 44. That's needed for a turning radius there, so we'll move that.
7 yes.
Item 45, on the conveyance of property west of and adjacent to vacated Southeast 19th Street, north of Scott Street, to Kemen Holdings LC, $21,040. Council Communication Number 13-144. Anybody in the audience to speak to this item? Seeing none, we have a motion. Brian?
Move.
Seven yes.
Item 46, on the correction of vacation and conveyance of a portion of the excess Southeast 18th Street right-of-way to Amond Packing Company, $5,450. Council Communication Number 13-140A. First consideration of the ordinance above. B is the final consideration of the ordinance above. The waiver is requested by the applicant and requires 6 votes.
I'll move 46A and B.
Been moved. Any comment? Anybody? Seeing none.
7 yes.
Item 47, on the vacation and conveyance of the west 15 feet of Southeast 15th Street right-of-way adjoining 1437 Murray Street to Edith C. Ruperto and Charles W. Ruperto, $7,821. Council Communication Number 13-145. A is the first consideration of the ordinance above, and B is the final consideration of the ordinance above. The waiver is requested by the applicant and requires 6 votes. Anybody in the audience to speak to this item?
Move 47A and B.
Was that A and B?
Yep.
7 yes.
Item 48, in the vacation conveyance of a portion of the north, south, and east-west alley right-of-way south of University Avenue between 6th Avenue and 7th Street to Quick Trip Corporation, $700. Council Communication Number 13-138. A is the first consideration of the ordinance above, and B is the final consideration of the ordinance above. The waiver is requested by the applicant, and again, it requires 6 votes. Anybody in the audience to speak to this item?
Great project. They've got all the neighborhood support. I'll move item 48A and B.
Seven yes.
Item 49, on Southeast 20th Street Storm Sewer, Scott Avenue to 500 feet north, a resolution approving the plan, specifications, form of contract documents, engineer's estimate, and designating the lowest responsible bidder as Sandstone Management Limited, Brandon Van Fleet, President, $72,075. Council Communication Number 13-135. A is approving the contract and the bond and the permission to sublet. Anyone to speak on this?
Move 49 and 49A.
Been moved. Brian?
Yeah. 7 yes.
Item 50, on the 2012 levy improvements, Contract 2, the resolution approving the plan specifications, form of contract documents, engineer's estimate, designating the lowest responsible bidder as J&K Contracting LLC, Jeremy Feldman, President, $182,423.41. Council Communication Number 13-143 is approving the contract and the bond and permission to sublet. Anybody in the audience to speak on this? 2012 levy improvements. Seeing none, could we have a motion? Move. 50 has been moved.
7 yes.
Item 51, on McHenry Park improvements, resolution approving the plan specifications, form of contract documents, engineer's estimate, designating the lowest responsible bidder as Joyner Construction, Inc., Jeb Joyner, Vice President, $179,355. Council Communication Number 13-139A is approving the contract and the bond and the permission to sublet. Anybody in the audience to comment on this item? Seeing none.
Seeing none, I'll move this. This is a great project up there in McHenry Park. If you hadn't had an opportunity to get up, look back toward the city, you ought to take that opportunity. It really is a nice deal.
You can see it differently now than 5 years ago.
Oh, boy, can't you? Yeah, you can see some of the land down there by the old Riverview.
Yep.
It used to be all water at one point in time.
7 yes.
Item 52, on the 4500 block of Wakanda Parkway sanitary sewer, the resolution improving the plans, specifications, form of contract documents, engineer's estimate, and designating the lowest responsible bidder as TK Concrete, Inc., Tony J. Vermeer, President, $54,143.50. Council Communication Number 13-141. A is approving the contract and the bond and the permission to sublet. Anybody in the audience to speak to this item? We have a gentleman heading this way.
My name is Thomas Hayes. I'm the business manager of Laborers Local 353 out of Des Moines, Iowa. I'm not very happy with TK considering the concrete work they've done for the city, but I just wanted to reassure the council that we have a monitoring program with our labor association, and we'll probably monitor that job to make sure TK does that job right. I just found out that they've done some sewer work, but they're not a huge sewer contractor. So we'll monitor that job and make sure that they're not breaking any OSHA violations.
I appreciate that information. I'll go ahead and move this item and ask that any information that comes back to the city manager's office or the Public Works Engineering, that's shared with the council as well if there are problems.
Mrs. Hensley, I'll be happy to make sure you get the information.
Thank you.
All right, item's been moved.
Sometimes does make you wonder when they come in a lot lower than what our estimates for the city comes out, so.
It does.
5 yes, 2 no.
Item 53, on the 2013 parking garage repair program, the resolution approving the plan specifications, form of contract documents, engineer's estimate, and designating the lowest responsible bidder is Bi-State Masonry, Inc., Chris Belser, Vice President, $480,570. Council Communication Number 13-142 as approving the contract and the bond and the permission to sublet. Is there anyone here to speak to this item, the parking garage repair program? Seeing
I'll
none?
move 53, 53A.
Okay.
Seven yes.
All right, let's note that the hearings end at 5:13. And could we have a motion to adjourn?
Holy moly.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We sit adjourned. Thank you all for coming this evening.